The ultimate ETF showdown, why XRP's army could crush Solana's tech supremacy. What if I told you the next crypto ETF battle won't be decided by cutting-edge blockchain technology, but by something far more powerful? The raw passion of an unstoppable community and a vision that could reshape the entire global financial system. Buckle up, because what you're about to discover will completely change how you think about institutional capital deployment and asset allocation strategies in the cryptocurrency space. Picture this scenario. It's October 2025, and the SEC simultaneously approves spot XRP and Solana ETFs on the exact same day. Which digital asset would capture more institutional-grade liquidity in those crucial first 72 hours? According to Bloomberg ETF analyst James Seyffart and Bitwise CIO Matt Hougan, the answer might shock even seasoned crypto veterans. Here's where it gets interesting. Both experts concluded that XRP would dominate initial capital flows despite Solana's superior technical infrastructure. Think about this for a moment. We're talking about a cryptocurrency that processes fewer transactions per second than its competitor. Yet industry professionals believe it would outperform in institutional adoption. Why? The answer lies in something traditional finance has never encountered before: genuine community passion driving portfolio diversification matrix decisions. The retail army phenomenon, when passion meets investment strategy. Picture a Saturday morning in Las Vegas. 1,200 people pack a conference room, every seat taken, discussing XRP's potential in correspondent banking alternatives and real-time gross settlement systems. Try organizing that level of weekend enthusiasm for a traditional finance conference. It's virtually impossible. This represents something unprecedented in institutional capital deployment: retail passion driving due diligence protocols and fiduciary responsibility decisions. The mathematical implications are staggering when you consider Bitcoin ETF adoption patterns. Approximately 75% of BlackRock's initial Bitcoin ETF buyers were crypto enthusiasts new to Wall Street products, with retail investors driving day-one volumes through brokerage accounts and wealth management platforms. XRP's established retail base, combined with systematic risk assessment advantages, creates overwhelming first-mover potential for ETF launches. Solana's technical brilliance meets the 90% meme coin reality. But wait, before we crown XRP as the inevitable winner, let's examine Solana's remarkable technological achievements. Solana processes an impressive 1,277 transactions per second in real-world conditions, with theoretical capacity reaching 65,000 TPS and average block times of just 0.4 seconds. The network's validator count has expanded to 3,248 active validators across 45 countries, creating robust decentralization metrics that institutional investors demand. Here's where the narrative gets wild, and this might blow your mind. Despite Solana's incredible technical infrastructure, approximately 90 to 92% of its DEX trading volume comes from meme coin speculation, up dramatically from just 25% in November 2023. Solana's meme coin market cap reached $15.7 billion, with daily trading volumes exceeding $5.4 billion. But this creates a fascinating paradox for institutional adoption strategies. Let me break it down with a real-world example that illustrates this challenge. Imagine explaining to a pension fund manager why they should invest in a blockchain where Pump.Fun accounts for 70% of token launches and daily trading activity. Even Solana co-founder Anatoly Yakovenko has criticized meme coins as digital slop, despite acknowledging they represent 62% of Solana DApp revenue. This internal tension reflects the broader struggle between speculative trading and Basel III compliance standards that institutional investors require. The mega reveal, XRP's derivatives market revolution. Here's the mega reveal that changes everything you thought you knew about XRP's institutional trajectory and could trigger the most significant paradigm shift in cryptocurrency history. Jake Claver, CEO of Digital Ascension Group, has identified the mathematical relationship that could drive XRP to unimaginable valuations through derivatives market penetration. The global derivatives market represents between $400 trillion and $1 quadrillion in notional value, making it the largest financial market on Earth. Here's the breakthrough insight. XRP's network efficiency increases exponentially with higher token prices due to macroeconomic implications and yield optimization mechanisms. Think about this revolutionary concept. Moving $1 million requires 1 million XRP tokens at $1 per token, but only 100,000 tokens at $10 per token, and just one token at $1 million per token. At $10,000 per XRP, the network would possess over $585 trillion in theoretical liquidity capacity, sufficient to handle trillion-dollar institutional transactions with unprecedented capital preservation strategies. I'll be honest, I was initially skeptical about these extreme price projections until I grasped the mathematical framework underlying derivative settlement efficiency. Claver's timeline suggests XRP could reach anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000 by January 1, 2026, based on reverse carry unwinding and regulatory pressure on competing stablecoin solutions. The implications are absolutely staggering when you consider counterparty risk mitigation requirements in modern financial services modernization. Kodius smart contracts, the game-changing infrastructure revolution. And here's where it gets absolutely incredible. Stephen Thomas, former Ripple CTO and co-creator of the Interledger protocol, has revived Kodius, a revolutionary smart contracts platform that could transform XRP's institutional utility. Unlike traditional blockchain-based platforms, where contracts run directly on-chain, Kodius executes contracts off-chain, on distributed networks, dramatically increasing scalability and cross-currency settlement efficiency. This changes everything for ISO 2022 implementation and prudential regulations compliance. Kodius supports mainstream programming languages like Java and C++, making it accessible to developers who might otherwise hesitate to learn specialized blockchain programming paradigms. Smart contracts can hold assets across multiple distributed ledgers, enabling seamless foreign exchange volatility hedging and multi-hop payment routing capabilities. Picture this technological breakthrough. Payment for Kodius hosting occurs in XRP, while contracts utilize XRP for settlement and escrow functions, creating sustained institutional demand for liquidity sourcing algorithms. The institutional adoption tsunami, numbers that will shock you. That just happened. XRP derivatives achieved unprecedented institutional traction that's reshaping cryptocurrency markets. XRP futures open interest on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange hit 4,766 contracts valued at $788 million, with record trading volume of $235 million in a single day. Cumulative trading since inception reached $1.6 billion, representing a massive institutional derivatives milestone for regulatory compliance frameworks.
And you guys, I have a special trick for you, which nobody seems to be using, and I cannot wrap my head around why. Because if you sign up through my link down in the description onto the Buy DeFi exchange, you get a 10% deposit bonus. And now stay with me here. Now here comes the important part. If you have any trading capital on any other exchange and you move it to your newly created Buy DeFi account, you get on top of your capital, you moved another 10% extra trading capital. As an example, if you move or deposit a $10K to your account, you get $1K for free. And here is why this is possible. Buy DeFi makes money on trading fees. The more capital you have, the more you trade. The more you trade, the more they earn. So they're literally investing in your trading activity by giving you extra capital up front. And unlike other platforms where bonuses are in the 1 to 3% range, Buy DeFi's bonus is a full 10%. I am not kidding. I really don't understand why nobody is doing this. To me, it really seems like people sometimes are too lazy or just don't like free money. I kindly ask you to pause this video and take your time to make an account. You can thank me later in the description of this video.
Central bank digital currencies development provides additional tailwinds for blockchain-based settlement solutions. Federal Reserve data indicates that 86% of central banks are actively researching CBDC potential, with 60% experimenting and 14% deploying pilot projects. This creates unprecedented demand for nostro account optimization and remittance infrastructure modernization that XRP is uniquely positioned to capture. Institutional research from Coinbase shows XRP is seeing significant corporate treasury investment, with companies viewing it as premium collateral for borrowing and yield generation strategies. The asset has attracted institutional holdings comprising 12% of XRP's market capitalization, increasing from 8.5% in 2023. Over-the-counter trades represent 19% of volume, indicating growing utilization by funds and financial entities seeking regulated cryptocurrency exposure. Solana's yield generation appeal, the staking advantage. Now here's the twist that sophisticated investors need to understand about Solana's competitive positioning in institutional portfolios. The network offers staking yields, typically ranging between 5 to 7% annually, with over 355 million SOL tokens, 65% of circulating supply, currently locked with validators. This yield generation capability appeals directly to institutional investment strategies, increasingly focused on Treasury Department sources and return optimization mechanisms. Solana's DeFi ecosystem demonstrates genuine institutional utility beyond speculative trading. Total value locked reached $9.3 billion in April 2025, nearly doubling from early 2024, with leading protocols Jupiter, MarginFi, and Drift collectively holding over $4.1 billion. Cross-chain bridges have moved $2.3 billion in assets onto Solana, while DAOs control over $700 million in staking derivatives, creating sophisticated risk-adjusted returns for institutional participants. The 3iQ Solana staking ETF in Canada accumulated 90 million CAD in assets under management, surpassing comparable XRP products and demonstrating international institutional appetite. High-profile endorsements from figures like Anthony Scaramucci have fueled speculation that Solana could eventually challenge Ethereum's market dominance through technical superiority and ecosystem innovation. Security alert: the AI deepfake scam epidemic targeting communities. Here's the kicker that every crypto investor needs to hear. Sophisticated scammers are exploiting XRP's success through AI-generated deepfake videos impersonating executives like Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz. Cryptocurrency fraud reached $2.1 billion in losses during the first half of 2025, with AI-enabled incidents increasing 456%. Let me share a cautionary tale that could save you thousands of dollars. These fraudulent operations hijack legitimate YouTube channels, rebrand them to mimic official Ripple accounts, and utilize deepfake technology to create convincing voice and video impersonations. Documented cases show deepfake scams collected at least $5 million between March 2024 and January 2025, with a 3,000% surge in attempts, making them increasingly difficult to detect. Protection requires verifying all communications through official channels, never sending cryptocurrency to unknown addresses, and remembering that legitimate companies never request crypto payments for giveaways. If someone's DMing you about sending XRP for supposed returns, stop immediately and ask questions before transferring any assets. Market dynamics: the institutional versus retail investment paradigm. IMF working papers reveal the fundamental difference in investment sophistication approaches driving ETF adoption patterns. Retail investors typically drive day-one ETF volumes through accessible narratives and lower unit price psychology, while institutional adoption builds gradually around technical capabilities and ecosystem development. XRP's simple payment rail narrative and regulatory certainty appeal to newcomers, while Solana's complex DeFi capabilities attract growth-oriented institutional segments. The geographic distribution shows XRP adoption particularly concentrated in emerging markets where cross-border payments are essential for commerce. XRP maintains 42% of new wallet holders aged 25 to 34, aligning with prime earning years and suggesting sustainable long-term demand drivers. This demographic advantage, combined with the passionate community engagement we discussed earlier, creates a powerful foundation for ETF adoption. Treasury Department sources confirm that while crypto investors generally prefer Solana's technological capabilities, institutional money managers increasingly recognize XRP's regulatory clarity and established derivatives infrastructure. The 2023 court ruling distinguishing XRP retail sales from securities regulations created the compliance frameworks that institutional capital requires for portfolio allocation strategies. The EVM sidechain explosion, XRP's DeFi transformation. I'm speechless at these development metrics that prove XRP's ecosystem expansion beyond traditional payments. The XRP Ledger's EVM-compatible sidechain deployed nearly 1,400 smart contracts within its first week, with total value locked surging from $5 million to $118 million, a staggering 2,260% increase. This developer adoption rate exceeded industry expectations and signals genuine institutional interest in blockchain-based financial applications. Built through collaboration with Pierce's technology and connected via Axelar Bridge to over 80 blockchains, the sidechain enables Solidity-based applications while maintaining XRP as the native gas token. Network specifications include 1,000 transactions per second, 3 to 5 second block times, and sub-penny transaction costs that rival traditional payment infrastructure. Real-world asset tokenization has become the sidechain's dominant use case, with institutions like Mercado Bitcoin planning to tokenize over $200 million in assets. Boston Consulting Group projections estimate global tokenization growing from $600 billion in 2025 to nearly $19 trillion by 2033, creating unprecedented opportunities for blockchain-based settlement rails. The verdict: community passion versus technological supremacy. Looking ahead, the interplay between regulatory developments, ETF approvals, and ecosystem diversification will determine whether community passion or technological supremacy drives institutional capital flows. XRP's combination of passionate retail community, regulatory clarity, established derivatives infrastructure, and banking relationships creates overwhelming advantages for first-week ETF performance. Bloomberg analysts assign 95% probability to XRP ETF approval by October 2025, with multiple major asset managers filing applications and Polymarket prediction data showing 98% confidence. However, Solana's technological capabilities, yield generation through staking, and burgeoning DeFi ecosystem suggest superior long-term competitive positioning for institutional adoption. The fundamental difference lies in investment timeline and sophistication requirements. Retail investors driving day-one volumes prefer XRP's accessible narrative and legal certainty, while institutional adoption builds gradually around technical performance and ecosystem development capabilities. Rather than zero-sum competition, both networks could capture substantial portions of the expanding blockchain-based financial services market through different institutional segments and use cases. The $10,000 vision: mathematical framework for extraordinary returns. I did not see that coming. Jake Claver's mathematical framework projects XRP reaching $10,000 within 24 months, based on derivatives market penetration and network efficiency optimization. His analysis centers on blockchain technology becoming the foundational settlement layer for next-generation financial infrastructure, where higher token prices enable larger institutional transactions with fewer tokens required. The International Swaps and Derivatives Association membership provides Ripple access to the $1 quadrillion global derivatives infrastructure through standard-setting processes. If blockchain-based settlement captures even microscopic market share, the liquidity requirements could justify extreme price appreciation through pure utility demand rather than speculation. Conclusion: the institutional revolution accelerates. What we're witnessing represents more than simple ETF competition. It's the fundamental transformation of how institutional capital interacts with digital assets through regulatory compliance frameworks and systematic risk assessment protocols. XRP's combination of community passion, legal clarity, derivatives infrastructure, and banking relationships positions it for superior initial ETF performance, while Solana's technological sophistication suggests different institutional segments may prefer distinct blockchain platforms for specialized applications. The ultimate winners will be investors who understand these institutional dynamics and position themselves accordingly before mainstream adoption accelerates through central bank digital currencies and cross-border settlement optimization initiatives. Whether XRP achieves the extraordinary price targets depends on blockchain technology transforming global financial infrastructure at unprecedented scale.
Smash that subscribe button if this institutional analysis opened your eyes to the derivatives revolution brewing beneath the surface. Drop a comment below with your predictions for which ETF will dominate the first week of trading, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our deep dive into Kodius smart contracts and real-world asset tokenization next week. The financial revolution is happening now. Don't get left behind.